Everyone's talking about Dave Chappelle's new special, The Closer, which began streaming on Netflix this past Tuesday. This is Dave's 6th Netflix special, and just like his last, it's garnered a mixed reactions from fans and critics alike. In the special, Chappelle touched on the vaccine, battling coronavirus, and of course, the LGBTQ+ community. Chappelle would end his set by saying he's done making jokes about the community until he's sure they're laughing together. Today we have our comedy hype analyst, Vanessa Fraction, in the studio, with Pierre calling in to give their reactions to Dave Chappelle's 6th Netflix special, The Closer. But first, let's take a look at this clip.
It's over. LGBTQ, LMNOP, QIZ, it is over. I am not telling another joke about you until we are both sure that we are laughing together. I'm telling you, this is done. I'm done talking about it. All I ask from your community, with all humility, will you please stop punching down on my people?
Now, I know that was only a glimpse of the entire special, but I want to come to you first, Pierre. As a whole, what was your reactions or thoughts on that special?
I love this special. You know, he is one of the GOATs, you know, without a doubt. The way he can talk to us and make us stay engaged. It doesn't have to be joke every 5 seconds, like many, you know, comics do. And he's, you know, he always has a message. And I appreciate him standing in the line of fire, you know, for speaking up, you know, what's on his mind. He's gone through a lot. He deserves all the praise he gets because he's gone through a lot and stands up for what he believes in. You know, and he's still here shining. So it's a beautiful thing.
Now, Vanessa, I want to come to you next. Like I said, I know that was just a clip, but what are your thoughts of the special overall?
It was cool. I think for people that are Dave Chappelle fans, that they really received a lot of the answers that they were kind of looking for. Him like taking all the specials and saying, look, all the questions, here's all the answers. And he is a professional and he has a wonderful way of making me burst out into laughter, which he did with the Clifford, the big black, yeah, that I bursted out into laughter. The rest for me, I'm super happy that he's taken a break from some of these main topics, the LGBTQ community. Good, close out, honey, close out, answer those questions, and let's come back with some really fresh, new stuff. You know what I'm saying? For me, we'll just say, again, I'm super happy that he was able to answer the questions for many of his fans, and I'm glad that he's going to be moving on to another chapter in jokes and in subject and so forth. I'm not necessarily ready to not abort the baby, but whatever.
Right. Well, and as he mentioned, this may be, I think he said something like along the lines of his last Netflix, or at least the last of that deal. But in this special, he does talk a lot about answering those questions. One of those conversations that he did bring up, and we've talked about it here a couple times, is cancel culture. Yeah. You know, he talks about Daphne, who was a trans woman that he met, who became his friend, who later committed suicide, unfortunately, after being, you know, getting some backlash on Twitter for defending him. And then he does talk about the baby. And Pierre, I'm going to come to you first with this one. So I know there's a lot of different things that Dave hits on, but specifically when he talks about ending the conversation, ending the conversation about LGBTQ+ community, ending those jokes. What was your reaction to that, or what are your thoughts? And do you feel that it's going to help push or, you know, level out what we see, you know, where a lot of people do feel like the LGBTQ+ community gets more value or has more value than Black issues or, you know, different issues that we see? What are your reactions, and do you think it'll help?
Well, one thing, the LGBTQ community, they rally together around each other strongly, more strongly than we do as Blacks. As some of y'all would say, I'm not Black, so I can't speak on it, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do. They hang in there a lot. Now, you have to understand the LGBTQ community, they comprise of Blacks, whites, Hispanics. It's not just one group, like we say with Blacks, it's just Blacks. So they have a lot of people, they have Black people in the LGBTQ. So they have a different way of coming at situations. You know, there are so many people in so many different facets of the media that are gay, you know, part of the LGBTQ community, that they get rallied behind each other and fight, and they fight hard. Now, they weren't done like the Jim Crow, you know, like we were as Black people, to go against each other. But you don't really find gay people fighting against each other. You know what I'm saying? We do fight against each other too much to get sometimes things done correctly. And people on the outside see that. And I like what Chappelle said. At the end of the day, he's like, I'm tired. I'm tired of we all fighting amongst each other. Why don't we all get on the same level and field and call it empathy and respect each other? regardless, because you'll have black people say, well, those gays, they don't get no rights, they shouldn't have no rights. Well, what do you think they say to you? What do you think gay people say to you as a black person? They don't like what you're doing then. So how do we get together? And that's what Dave was saying, hey, man, let's come together on empathy. We all are hurting. We all are tired of being picked on from something. But some, like I said, some black people say something, they're like, well, gay people aren't born gay. They make a choice of it. But once you start that again, now it gets ugly again. And then it gets to who they don't deserve it. We deserve it. We've been put over here as slaves. Man, if you don't put this level playing field as being, respecting each other, have empathy for each other, we're never going to get across. We're never going to fix this.
That's a great point, Pierre. You gave me chills in saying that. Vanessa, I want to come to you next. What are your thoughts on that? And do you feel like he's, pushing this forward, pushing a solution forward?
Yes, I think that the thing that I agree with most out of all of it is empathy as humans. Some of the jokes and examples that, Dave gave are always quite extreme. I think he has a talent for doing that kind of thing. And for those that love that, go for it. You know what I'm saying? They can make you giggle or what have you, and also make you think. And the biggest thing that I thought about that is definitely empathy for humanity. One thing that we did hit on really quickly, though, was about cancel culture and about how it exists and things like that. I'm not a big person that's on cancel culture. I do, however, believe that you should be able to say any and everything that you want to. You know what I mean? Right. And if I don't like what you're saying, I can personally tune out. If enough people tune out, then maybe or maybe not. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's up to us to have to change hearts and minds all the time when you can just cut someone on or off and have that right to. So
I like that, and I think that's a good solution too, because he talks about, when people do rally together, like it's like I want to hurt you. You hurt my feelings, so now I want to hurt your livelihood or hurt your life or whatever it is. And it's like, just step away. Just stop watching. As an individual,
if you keep on with the same rhetoric and I'm kind of through with that kind of thing, as I was actually getting tired of Dave Chappelle talking about the same LGBTQ community, and I was like, if he do it again, I'm just going to turn it off. Luckily, he did that for us. But it gets tiring, and we have a choice and we have options. And so, I think we should exercise that as individuals and not gang up on people and try to ruin people.
I like that. Now, I do want to, go ahead, Pierre.
No, and as I did yesterday with brother Islam, Rizza Islam, I told him I don't like the fact that he's been canceled because of what he stands for. I don't mind him speaking. That's why I came on the show to speak with him. I want to hear what he has to say, and he should have it. Now, to me, if you're pushing violence or criminal activity, man, that's a different thing, man. That's a whole different thing, because you can influence people to do that, to continue to do violence and criminal activity. But if you have if that's not your message, I'm cool with it. But you got some very fine line to say, I'm gonna cancel this person and not this person. It's a fine line.
What were your?
No, I was just saying. He said people that commit violence or people that who
are pushing violence,
pushing violence. I'm sorry, and misinformation can also kill people as well. And I think that's why a lot of platforms are very sensitive about that kind of thing, because misinformation can actually kill people. So it's a fine line with that, and that's why I say individually you have to learn whether or not you're going to tune out to someone, and if that results in a cancellation of something, as we call it, then fine. But it's more to me, not because someone told me that I can't watch or listen to this person again. It's more because I'm tired of whatever they're representing.
Right. Now, I do want to ask this before we close out. As comedians, how do you handle these times where we do see people are a little bit more sensitive in these times, whether it's, in the LGBT community or just any type of situation? How do you handle, if you want to make a joke? I'm going to come to you, Vanessa, because you're grinning.
Oh, I'm grinning because as a person, I've learned to evolve. I'm a mother, I'm a parent, and sometimes, I've learned that some of the things that I grew up with, there's a better way to do it, or I have a different understanding now as an adult. And so I go ahead and make that shift if that's the way that I feel. Some comedians do remind me of those old school kind of ways of being, you know what I mean? And that's fine. I would honestly like them to keep saying who they are, so then I can make the decision of whether I want to come to your show or not. I don't feel like you should have to hide how you really feel. You know what I mean? If you want to make those kind of lewd jokes and you think it's all right, if you think your people want to hear it, and those are those type of people that are out there, I think they should have every right to listen to it. You know what I mean? For me, it makes it easier, because then I know I don't deal with that kind of person where they're not evolving. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Pierre, I want to come to you. What are your thoughts as a comedian? How do you handle, times where things are a little bit more sensitive to talk about, but you may want to hit on?
I really come from a place of love, regardless of what people think. So my humor, even if even like your parent would spank you, they still loved you, but they spanked you. While you getting spanked, you don't like it. You feel like, oh, you're the worst parent. I ain't gonna be like that. Well, it's a lesson we're trying to teach. And then when I do my comedy, I may throw out something like that. Now, everyone may not love it, but it's coming out of love. Like Chappelle said, let's just have empathy about all of this. But I wouldn't want to, like she was saying, letting comics say what they want. But if the comic was up there talking about, kill all gay people need to die and stuff like that. But I wouldn't want to hear that. And if someone might go out in the audience and kill somebody that's gay on the way home and say, you know what, I like what he said, I'm gonna kill him. And then now look what happened. So it's a fine line, but I just do what I do. And I thank the fans who come out and support me all the time at all the venues. I appreciate it. You know what I do.
Pierre, as you had said before, I'm never down with people speaking violence. That then is right. Categorized as something else. So, right. And venues have an option to say that I know this person speaks in this way, and I don't want them at my venue. You know what I mean? There's many right. ways than just as a group of us ganging up. I mean, as a group, if you want to, you can. Excuse right. me. So
no, I appreciate it. As always, I appreciate y'all for chiming in and giving a different perspective, because I do think there are newer comedians that are coming to the game, and they watch the show and they listen to you all. So it's always good to get solutions and your perspective on situations like this. So thank you both. I appreciate it. And as always, you heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Dave Chappelle's 6th Netflix special, The Closer? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
You know where to put it at.
All off in these comments.
All up in them.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.